I'm Natasha Lubchenko. Welcome to Money Wisdom, sponsored by Johnson Brunetti. We're teaching you smart ways to manage your money, and here with expert advice is Eric Hogarth, certified financial planner and Johnson Brunetti partner. Eric, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Natasha. Nice to be here, as always.
As always, so retirement is a big event in people's lives. It's an exciting time, but can also be nerve-wracking. According to a study by the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies, workers are showing major retirement concerns. Eric, let's go through some of them. The first one, Social Security funding shortfalls. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, I mean, every day you can find an article that says Social Security is either going broke or is broke, and you should be concerned about that. That's concerning. I mean, the reality is that people that are approaching retirement, you're 60, 62, I do believe Social Security is going to be there. But as you think about saving for retirement, maybe if you're younger, or if you're thinking about 62, am I going to retire? Most people, Social Security is part of their retirement income. You don't want to plan for it to be the entirety, because then you don't have much flexibility at all.
And now, what about this concern, the cost of health care?
That's the single biggest reason people don't retire earlier, if they've done a good job saving, is people look at, okay, well, 62, again, I can draw my Social Security, but I've got to pay for health insurance until I hit 65 and can trigger Medicare, unless you have an employer, and there aren't many who have some type of retiree health benefit. So when you're looking at, can I retire? Are we going to retire? You have to factor in healthcare as a big part of what your cost is, particularly if you're going to retire before 65.
Yeah, definitely lots to consider there. And now this third concern, lots of people have solutions for long-term care.
As you live longer in retirement, this ultimately ends up being maybe the biggest concern that people have. Once, in the early years of retirement or the later working years, it's, are we going to have enough? Did we save enough? Is it going to work? And once you get into retirement and get comfortable with what your income is going to be and whatever your taxes are going to be, ultimately, for a lot of folks, the real concern is, well, what if I don't have control over this? And maybe that's required minimum distributions at age 72, but for a lot of people, it's that unknown of that massive cost of a nursing home, of home health care. So again, you've got to factor that in. And if you are going to look at long-term care, which I recommend everyone has the conversation, I'm not saying you need to buy it, but you certainly need to decide for yourself, because if you wait long enough, it's not an option. You have to address that earlier, early 60s, even earlier than that, but make sure you talk about it and plan for it.
Yeah, it's important to think about these things in advance, like we always say. And now finally, a concern for people is access to employer-sponsored retirement plans and other savings programs.
So this is more applicable if you are still working, or maybe even if you're just starting to work. Maybe a misconception that people have is that, well, 20 years ago, everyone had pensions, which wasn't the case, but certainly a lot more people had pensions then than have now than will have 20 years from now. So you do have to make sure you're saving as much as you absolutely can. But if you do have one of those employer plans, if you have a pension, some of those pensions you can start early, and maybe you should and maybe you shouldn't, but some of them, if you don't start them early and you wait 5 more years, they don't pay you any more money. Some pensions pay you less money the longer you wait to trigger it, which that's weird. So if you were fortunate enough to have grown one of those programs, make sure you're getting everything out of it. Make sure that you're talking about how much is your significant other going to get if you die first. So spend time talking about that, get some good advice on it, because it's a big, big decision and you get one chance to make it and you can't mess it up.
Right. I mean, Eric, you touched on so many important points here today. How can our viewers learn more about this?
So going to www.moneywisdom.com, the document that we put together is specific to healthcare. So it talks about the subject is don't let healthcare derail your retirement, but it touches on other stuff. I mean, in financial planning, which is what we do and spend so much time talking about, it's fun talking about investing money, but retirement is about income, and it's about having a plan and hopefully using your money and protecting your money. So there's a lot that goes into that, and just having conversations that don't cost anything to make sure that when that time comes, retirement can be everything that you want it to be.
All right, that is a great offer. Thank you, Eric Hogarth from Johnson Brunetti. Again, if you would like to learn more, go to moneywisdomtv.com. For CT Style, I'm Natasha Lubchenko. See you next time.